just listen to that all night. Doesn't it just take you back to like your childhood, sitting on the pew? Okay, in the Nazarene hymnal, Victory in Jesus was 242, I think. In the Free Will Baptist hymnal, it's 317, in case you're looking. It's an old hymn. But, this man sings everything well, which kind of really gets on my nerves. But he also has better hair than most women I know. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only. Wait, push a button. Guy Penrod, he's coming. There he is! A man who looks like Jesus if Jesus had lived longer.
Lord help me to act more.
Jesus is still alive, so that's good.
That is
How
good.
are you, my friend?
I am doing wonderful. I'm better than I deserve, like my buddy Dave Ramsey says.
Oh, gosh, I love him. Guy, I've known of you, and I've been around you for, 25 years or so, but I've probably just said a hello, or may I have my picture made with you, or teased a little bit about I always tease you about your hair, because you're the only man of your age that I know that really rocks it well.
Well, don't tell this.
Cut all this and just do a mullet. I live in a county where they just do the mullet, and I'm like,
yeah, that was back in the 80s. I had one too.
You did? Oh, shoot.
Burn all the pictures of it,
For those of you who aren't as familiar with Guy Penrod, and we have a lot of comedy fans on this little station, so
yeah.
I will say this: you have a very dry sense of humor, because I watch your music videos all the time, and especially live, like when I've been on the Gaither the Gaither videos, and you'll say a little something, and people will chuckle, going, "Is he being funny? Is he being?" Which I love that kind of sense of humor, because you can get by with a lot if people don't really know if you're serious.
Yeah. It hides your ignorance a little too. So.
No, but what I love is I think you really love that Bill and Gloria.
I do. I mean, what wonderful people.
How long y'all been together?
Oh gosh. 25 years, probably.
You've been with the vocal band for 25 years.
No, I hadn't been in the vocal band that long. But Bill, he kind of sucks people into his world, and they can't really exit. Mark has tried who knows how many times, and he just gets stuck back. So I decided, when I retired.
I didn't get sucked in yet. I'm a little ticked off about it, to tell you the truth.
Well, we got to work on that. We got to call Bill and Gloria and tell them, look, you need another one circling in your orbit.
I know. I'm working up the nerve to get him to come on here and talk to me.
You know what the deal is? You're funnier than Bill is. So he's not going to get someone funnier than him around it.
Yeah, that's true.
14 years I was with the vocal band, and I retired in 2009 out of the group and started doing solo stuff. But Bill kind of snagged me up. Oh my, honestly, he was the impetus that caused Angie and I to move to Nashville.
Really?
Yeah. When I graduated from Liberty, I moved to Atlanta, and Mark and I hung out a good bit actually in Atlanta. For the year that I was there, I worked in a church, and Bill offered me at least not a job, but some work if I wanted to move and sing a publishing catalog for 3 guys he had hired called SKB, Schuyler, Knobloch, and Bickner. And
I think I remember hearing about that.
Yeah, SKB was a country trio, and then Paul Overstreet was as well in that.
Ah, that's right.
Group. And Bill, he's owned a bit of publishing, I think, on just about anybody and everybody. Yeah. And Gary McSpadden owned a publishing group called Arios. Don't you remember? Gary's in heaven now. So singing perfect songs. But anyway, so we moved up here to sing their catalog, so that Bill and his company could pitch it and get cuts. And so really the rest, we just kind of followed and flowed as well as we could, flopping along, and never really exited his orbit. We just kind of hung in close.
Who does really? Who does? Most of the world does orbit around Bill Gaither.
Well, at least he thinks so.
And I'm sure he's going to see this too. And we're both in trouble.
God forgive me. Yeah, he'll be flying down here getting.
I do remember, and I don't know what your experience was, but the very first time I was ever on a Gaither video, I had been invited. I remember I had just met Mark Lowry, and I was so green at what I do. I was still worried that maybe I was going to go to hell for doing, for being funny in church. Yeah. So I was still really nervous about it. And I wore my church dress every night, and I carried my Bible just in case the devil was going to throw, darts at me. And I got a call from Mark one day. There's no cell phones back when we all started in music. And I just got a phone call from Mark that said, somebody's going to call you, be at your phone. You're going to love this. And I said, who? And he goes, Bill's fixing to invite you to praise gathering. And I was like, I was like, it's like the Pope is about to call you and grant you grace for the rest of your life.
Mary's.
I was like, oh my goodness. I was so excited. And I waited and the phone never rang. And I got up and went outside to feed the dog.
Oh no.
And the phone rang while I was gone, and it went to voicemail, and it was his secretary going, please hold for Bill Gaither. And then you hear Bill stumbling, and then you hear his voice. This is Bill. I want to talk to you about something. I think you're very funny. Call me back. Well, then it took like 2 hours to finally keep, calling back. And then, as a young artist, you're like, should I be too eager? I don't want to be too eager. Yeah.
Right.
Oh man, it was hilarious. And I saved the little teeny tiny cassette tape that was in the recorder that records your, I saved that little teeny tiny cassette for I don't know how long,
Yeah.
Until you couldn't find anything to play it anymore. Yeah.
I mean, my goodness, how many people get asked to come to? I mean, Praise Gathering rocked,
and it was
all those. It
was probably one of the most defining moments of my career. That and meeting Mark. Mark helped a lot. I don't like to tell him that because he likes to think I owe him, everything I own. Well, but yeah, and I kind of do, but I don't want him to know it.
Yeah, really.
Yeah.
I won't tell him. You don't tell him. Y'all people keep it a little secret between us.
Yeah, exactly. But when I went to Praise Gathering, and that was really great. And then I got invited to be on a Gaither video, and I was so excited. And you were there. I mean, everybody and anybody was there. And everybody that I thought was dead was there.
They raised back to life, kind of like Lazarus, and they said,
it was just amazing. And I remember my mother insisted that I get a perm in my hair so it would look better. Because these videos are going to be out for the world, Right. And it rained in Alexandria, Louisiana, or Anderson, wherever that was. We went to their studio. Right. It rained, my hair frizzed, so I wore a hat. And to this day, I regret putting that hat on my head. When I see it, that was it was probably the first thing that was ever on tape that I said in my life. And I looked horrible. But I was skinny, so that was good. Yeah.
Hey, that's just part of it. Younger is skinnier. I'm finding that out. And during this pandemic, my gosh, I've put on COVID weight. I probably
COVID-19. That's the 19 pounds you gain in COVID.
Well, I'm past that. I think mine should be COVID 30.
Here's the amazing thing. I went to the doctor the other day, and I've lost weight.
Good for
during
you.
The quarantine. And the doctor goes, "You're the only person I know that's losing weight during the quarantine." I said, "It's because I have to eat my own cooking."
Well, you should have come to our house. We have grilled everything and anything that you can put on a grill.
Now, you've got a big old ranch out there, don't you?
We have a little farm. Yeah.
A little old farm. Stop.
If I turn this around, can you see it?
I just see your log house there sitting in front of us.
I'm sitting on my porch. Look, here, let me flip this around. See if you see this.
Oh my gosh, it's beautiful. How many acres?
175.
175 acres. No one can find you.
A little bit of elbow room.
I think that's wonderful. I have a little farm. I call it the funny farm.
Yeah, I'll bet.
It's about.
Mine feels like the funny farm. My kids have sucked my brains out.
Now, when I talked to you earlier today, you said, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm sweaty. I've been working." What were you doing?
I was running all over town. It was one of those things. We're doing a concert, a live stream concert, and I have
Yes,
been
we should be
my head
talking
off
about that.
with our buddy Brian Smith. Brian with
Such a smart guy.
yes, and he sets up so many things for us to go, get the word out. And so I've just run all over Nashville, and we've had our little masks with us, going everywhere and telling people about an event. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
was running all day long. And when I got in, I was late actually to sit down with you and do our test call. But
That's quite all right.
I'm so thankful.
I'm very honored. Are you kidding? I'm very honored. You're a great man of God. And I know you're streaming concertonthecouch.com. Right there. Concert.
Look at that. You got a little sign made up.
I love the idea of that because for one thing, it's something everybody can do with their dads.
Yeah. And it's with this kind of situation that's been going on, people are ready to get out and do something.
Oh.
And on the weekend, everybody goes out to dinner on Friday nights. Mother's Day, you go out to dinner.
Right.
Cook. Saturday is another one of those days where you want to get out and have a good time. Relax and be out with family.
Yeah.
But when you get done with church on Sunday, you come home for Father's Day and usually grill.
Yes.
Then everybody falls into a coma nap. Or we do, and then you nap a while. Well, we figured when you wake up, what better thing than to just turn the TV on and stream our concert on the couch. You got the best seat in the house and popcorn if you want to make it. And and just
get your popcorn and all that stuff before it starts. Like do it, go potty, do everything because you don't want to miss. Because once a streaming thing starts, you don't want to, you're there. It's like you're at a concert. You don't want to leave. If you're leaving, you're going to miss the best line, the best song, the best.
It doesn't pause. You can't get up and pause it and start it again. So come on. But the good thing is when you register and it's free, we're not charging anything. We do accept donations.
Right.
Because it costs money to do it. And we don't get to tour anymore. Can you believe it? Wow. So it'll be a while before that happens. But
so
you can give. We started a ministry, Guy Penrod Ministries, beginning of this year. And we're starting signing artists and doing some things that we believe will influence the culture. And I kind of want to work myself out of a job, I'm getting old enough where people look at me and they think, what's he doing up there? So I'll like training some young guys coming up behind.
No, I ran into somebody put it on my Facebook page yesterday when I announced, oh my gosh, I'm going to get to talk to Guy Penrod. And they said, you were their Sunday school teacher when they were young, you were their Sunday school teacher.
Yeah. When we went to Christchurch on that.
Yeah. That is so cool.
That was great years. We
love that.
In 85, we
were
6.
You've always been very connected to church.
Yeah, I'm a pew baby.
Yeah.
It doesn't make us good.
No.
Sleeping the Bible on your head, it doesn't make you godly or holy. But I just like church. I like the church culture. I
do too.
Enjoy people. I love potlucks. I like playing sports on church league teams, and we've met our sweetie in church or a churchish thing up at Liberty. And it's just a good place to do life within the church, Yeah.
Now I was a preacher's kid, so sometimes I had to go to church.
Yeah, me too.
Were you a preacher's kid?
PK all the way, Baptist. I was independent Baptist, buddy.
Oh, your mama had her hair up.
Yeah, buns.
She didn't wear any makeup.
Well, no, she got to wear makeup. I think we were kind of the heathen bunch or something.
Last night on the way home, I was coming home from Jeff Allen's house. He's a comedian friend of mine.
Love Jeff.
And on my personal Facebook page, and I'm kind of feeling a little guilty about it today, a little bit, but not so much. Yeah. As I'm coming through, I saw a church sign, and the sign was so blinding. I knew it was a Baptist church, I think, and this is Windy Roads of Cheatham County, Tennessee, where I live. Yeah. And back roads, but the little bottom marquee part was so bright. As the road would swerve, my dimmers didn't know whether to stop or go. But anyway, and I'm thinking, they have got all the light. This must be a really important message from the church. And I'm in a little bit of a sarcastic mood. I just spent 3 hours with some comedians. So, you're in an edgy place.
That's right.
And when I got close to the sign, I had to pull over and stop and take a picture of it. I was so upset. All the sign said was, nursery is closed.
What the heck?
And
Well,
I almost pulled off and cried.
what is that supposed to mean?
Well, I guess it's to their people, so they know either bring your kids or don't bring your kids, or they're the nursery. But I just thought, of all the messages someone needs to hear at this hour in our lives and at this time in the world.
Nursery closed.
Nursery closed.
You got more you could say with that big sign.
Yeah. And I know that sounds very judgmental, but I also know you especially, because you're a bigger artist than I am, but we who throw it out there on the line for the whole wide world to either criticize or to evangelize or whatever it is that we do, I'm like, good grief. We're on the front lines, buddy. I wanted to leave a note on that church door and go, you know what? There's some hurting people in your community that would like to just know, maybe just put up John 3:16 if you can't think of anything else.
I think sometimes, don't you, or I won't put words in your mouth. You can decide once I say it. But I think sometimes that people who minister, that to find the gracious bone in my body, which I have maybe one. I'm Texas, so I kind of get smarty a lot. But that's
the preacher's kidding us.
Yeah, it is. It's hard.
Maybe a great comic.
Well, when you think about what it is we try to do, we're trying to, as imperfect people, carry a perfect gospel, perfect message.
Yes.
And
that's a good point.
We're an easy mark for the enemy to slap around and for us to beat ourselves up. I mean, I'm that kid that grew up in the fishbowl, and I always feel like I'm doing horrible if I just mess up in the slightest. It feels big to me.
Wow.
And I think sometimes, folks who are leading ministries, and especially in a church setting, because we pastored for a while, started a church actually out in Columbia here, a daughter church of Christ Church.
Wow.
And
yeah.
It gets kind of challenging and somewhat, you feel like you just can't do it, And who knows, maybe the old dude woke up that morning and after all this pandemic stuff, he said, well, Pot, I'll just put up the nurseries closed.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't know. But
I totally get that. I had a very imperfect father.
Yeah.
My father was a great dad and a really bad dad.
Yeah.
And my father was bipolar.
Oh, boy.
I mean, I heard that term when I was about 14. It was the pulpit focused him.
Mm-hmm.
And so he was a great preacher. He was a great pastor. Yeah. Not so much a great husband, but he had moments of being a great dad. And then he had moments of being a really, really bad dad. I feel free to tell it all. I have an older brother. I have two sisters in heaven, but I have an older brother that not so free to tell it all.
Yeah.
He's probably not watching. But there is something about preachers and the preacher's sons that I think gets lost in the mix. And so I really was cozy to my mommy. I was a mama's girl, and I was till the day she died. But all that to say, on this Father's Day weekend, sometimes Father's Day is really hard for the fatherless or for the imperfect, the person who had them.
And we focus, and we will be focusing on our Heavenly Father.
Right.
That's the cool thing is that until you come to Christ, the sad truth is we're all dead men walking, dead men, dead ladies walking.
Wow, so that's a great line.
It doesn't matter how good or bad our fathers are. We're all dead without Christ in our trespasses and sins. So when you get born again, you get a new family, and it starts with a new father who actually does a perfect job at it. And so I encourage those who are watching and in your audience to focus on look past the failures of we as fathers. And I can say I'm a great dad and I'm a horrible dad. It depends on what day you hit me. And
how many kids you have?
I have 8. 7 boys and 1 little girl. They're from 28 years old down to 14 every 2 years, and our girl's the youngest. And I have 3 that are married and 1 little grandbaby on the ground. Her name is Selah. She's 4 months old, and 2 in the hopper. My son Logan and his wife Brooke are due in September with a girl, and my son and his wife, son Joe and his wife Caitlin, are due with a girl in October.
So you had all these boys. Now they're having girls.
Yeah, that's right.
That is wild. That's wild.
That's cool.
I met your wife. Both of you are 7 feet tall. I mean, she's just gorgeous. She has a baby from her armpit because she don't have an ounce of fat on her. She's stunning. Yes.
So yes, I do. And yeah, she is tall, 6'3". And we have 2 boys, 1 6'8", 1 6'7", and the rest are about 6'6", 6'5". So we're the shortest in the family except for our girl, and I think she'll pass us too. But
wow.
You know, the father, it can be challenging. I think these days are challenging days too, because so much competes for our kids' attention, and there's just a lot of stuff out there that make it challenging to parent.
Yeah.
And so
I
encourage
when the parents are afraid. Usually you can run to your daddy and he's the one that's going to tell you how it's all going to be okay. But when the world is like it is right now, your daddy's nervous too.
Oh boy, I tell you, we
forget our dads are human.
Yeah, sometimes that's true. Mine's in heaven as well, and
mine too.
I put him on a pedestal, and he was great in my eyes, and yet I know he was imperfect, and I knew some of his flaws, but not all of them. That we lived in the day where they shut the bedroom door and didn't let us see. And Angie and I are so kind of thick-headed and quick. We just have holler or do whatever we're going to do, right out in front of everybody. That's kind of the way I've chosen to parent. They've seen mistakes.
You're a little more educated, I guess, than we were.
Yeah, I don't know. They definitely have more to erase out of their heads. Don't close your eyes. Oh my gosh.
I used to always have a joke about you want to get your teenagers to straighten up and go to their room and be, pure and, and be virgins, start making out with their daddy on the couch. They'll never come out of their room till they're ready for college.
Oh, that is the truth. The other day, my boys got a hold of my phone, and before I knew what was happening, I had been thumbing through my pictures. And I stopped. Now, don't tell anyone. Y'all don't tell nobody.
Yeah, don't tell anybody. There's only 112,000 people online right
now. Well, I stopped on a picture of my sweetheart with just she and I at the lake. We have a date week at the lake every year. She was every year we get a 1-week date at the lake. And she was in her beautiful bikini and having had 8 kids, looking like a model.
I know she does.
And buddy, I had a shot of her, and I had thumbed through there, and then I left that shot up, and then I turned my phone off and set it down. Well, one of my boys walked up and handed me the phone and said, "Hey, Dad, I need to use the phone real quick. Open it." And I just opened it and handed it to him, and he went, "Oh, my retinas are burned." I mean, you would have thought he'd been shot in the face.
I'm blinded.
Yeah. He said, "Oh my gosh, this is seared in my memory. I'll never forget my mom in a bikini." So I said, "Well, that's what you get."
So funny. I love it. I am so excited. I have a movie coming out the day that your streaming happens. But now the movie will be there forever. So after the concert, if you're still awake, go watch Selfie Dad. That's a movie. I just had a small part in it. My comedian friend, Michael Jr. is in it. But I thought, what wonderful, God works all things for good. And even in this quarantine and this COVID and this fear and the upheaval in the world, and we're all closed into our homes, dads are stuck in there with the family. And so now you can sit there and have a concert of a man who loves God and loves his children and be inspired. Then you can have some popcorn and watch a movie. Just make the day about dads. But don't forget, you guys, listen to me. Go to concertonthecouch.com and reserve your ticket right now.
Yes, there's some instructions with regard to how to do it. And like I said, there's no charge. But if you are able Give a donation. If you're not able, don't let that keep you from coming. Just and it's one IP address per household.
That's easy. So
each person in the household doesn't have to sign up. You can just sign
Oh,
one.
that's nice. Yeah.
Household.
Uh-oh. Well, we lost him. I don't know what happened. And there he went. But guys, is he the greatest or what? Oh my gosh, that was just Oh, there you are. There you are. You're somewhere. Don't scratch your nose. We almost saw you doing it. No, I just say bye because I was so talking ugly about you when you left.
No, I love y'all. I'm so sorry. I'm a technical idiot.
No, that's quite all right. So good.
Come see us. We want to see you and reconnect. If we could only hug, that'd be the best part. But we'll give you a big virtual hug.
Jeff Allen and I are trying to do a laugh on the lawn. We want.
Oh, that sounds fun.
We got to find a big lawn. We just threw it out there last night, going, "Hey, let's do it."
I've got a big lawn.
I live in a condominium. His lawn. So we threw it out there, and all of a sudden we have like 500 people that want to come. It's like, oops.
Yeah. Well, hey, I've got about a 30-acre field out here. We could just come out.
That's what we need to do. Set up a flatbed truck and be funny, man. That's all.
I've done it before.
Yeah, you have. Good to see you.
Good to see you, Chonda. Thank you so much. Bless
you. Thank you. Guy Penrod, you're awesome. Thank you, my friend.
Bye-bye.
Was that just so sweet? And he kind of looks like Jesus, but he's a little bit older. Y'all are going to believe what I have for us now. This has been such a fun time. Oh, wait, I got to show all my little things. I told you about Selfie Dad. That comes out the same time. So you can watch Guy's concert and then you do Selfie Dad. But while we're waiting for my next guest to sign on, and maybe if he hears me, what time is it? It's almost time. I'm so excited. Y'all, this is a surprise guest that you're just not going to believe who is here. Wait, let me fix this. See, look at my little fancy things I'm learning. Pretty good, isn't it? Y'all be sure and tell Gary Chapman on Thursday how well I did this when he's not in the room to make me nervous. Because he does make me nervous. Now, what I wanted to talk to you about is I got the funniest message today from my nephew. I have two nephews. They're brilliant and excellent. And I love them very, very much. My nephew, Josh, is practically a doctor. We say that all the time. Practically a doctor. He is, oh gosh, look what I did to my hair. And by the way, y'all, look, I got that gray taken out today. I could go to the hairdresser and I had to wear a mask the whole time I was there. And I thought I was going to have claustrophobia. It was horrible. I don't know how people are doing it out there that has to wear a mask constantly. But anyway, so I went to get my hair done and I felt better about it. And then I got the funniest picture from my nephew. My nephew is a father for the very first time. This is his first Father's Day. My nephew Josh is a physician's assistant and he works at our counseling center, Branches Counseling Center. But my nephew Jacob, who the whole family and my brother always rolls his eyes when he teases and says, he's the most like you. And it's because he used to play at Tootsie's, which is a honky tonk in downtown Nashville. And he played there for, hold up your fingers, Jacob, how many years? Like 10? Oh, 15? 10. 10 years. He's a great bass player, but that little kid banked some cash and became a pilot. And now he is a big airline pilot and he still teaches flying. I have flown with him and it's quite scary, but he's brilliant. But he is a first-time dad on Father's Day. Y'all, you gotta make welcome my nephew Jacob.
Hey, Aunt Chonda.
This is just like this. The whole family thinks, we're more connected because we're all want to be entertaining.
We are.
Yeah, we are connected. But I'm trying to show everybody because I got the scoop from your wife. So his brand new baby today enjoyed yesterday was the first solid food.
The day before. So this is the third day
before was sweet potatoes. And I said, don't start him on the sweet potatoes. Put some butter and brown sugar in that. Because Great Nanny would do that, wouldn't she?
Oh, yeah. And then Allison said, Aunt Chonda's in my head. So she went out and got green beans and gave him green beans yesterday.
Oh, good. Because I said, you start with sweet potatoes. That kid will never eat anything green, which is what's wrong with Zachary. This is Caleb Race. Look at him. Is that the most beautiful picture you've ever seen? And this is his second time trying solid food, or third day.
Yeah, third day.
And I think he's loving it. And this was prunes. So my comment back to the family stream was, I want Jacob's picture when he's taking the diaper off.
I think in 20 years, when people ask me what was the most memorable thing about 2020, it will be that diaper change. Absolutely be that diaper change.
You better believe it, buddy. I couldn't wait when I saw he's eating prunes. Do they know what's about to happen?
It was bad. It was bad.
I can remember Zachary, your cousin, had a horrible blowout. We were like at church. I'd used my last diaper. So we just tried to keep him in the car seat with a blanket over it. So see. By the time we got home, it's like it was stuck and it was awful. I know that sounds gross, but it was just terrible. Terrible.
I was doing dishes or something with Caleb, and I just heard him start giggling out of nowhere. I didn't hear anything and walked around, and he was covered.
He was so content. He was clean.
He was happy. He was happy at that point.
Well, our family has a little problem with some of that, so. Your father, I know his Pat. He takes Metamucil every day.
Everybody's rejoicing after that.
Everybody's like, yes, he doesn't have the disease. I think that's funny. So, Jacob, I wanted you to just talk off the top of your head because I love you, and I love the way you think, and I love the way you love Jesus. And what a witness you were in a dark place. And it wasn't so dark. It was fun. I went down there a lot. I would, when I was grieving your Uncle David, and I was living downtown, and your Uncle David was in a bad spot, and I wasn't handling it very well. We all know that. But I would go down to Tootsie's, and I would just sit in that bar and listen to you sing. And it'd be like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, and people were carrying on something stupid. And yet it was just good to sit there and be connected to family. And then I would walk back to my condo, But it gave me a view of the world that I never got in the church, to tell you the truth.
Yeah, absolutely.
Where the church really needs to be. And I know for a fact, and I know I don't want to embarrass you, but I just know for a fact how many nights you gathered up food from restaurants. I know how many nights that you gave a homeless guy your last sandwich. I know all those things, and the world doesn't know that about you, but I can't, and I'm going to cry. I can't wait to tell Caleb those stories.
I appreciate it.
I know. I really do, about his father. How does it feel to be a father for the first time on Father's Day?
I got a new holiday.
Yeah,
like another Christmas, another birthday. It's something.
No, he's a little young. I don't think he's going to get a whole lot. Yeah,
I'm expecting gifts. I'm expecting something. No, it definitely brings perspective to it, for sure, and especially it's hard not to compare and contrast him coming here in the midst of such a chaotic time.
Yeah, tough world.
I was talking to a friend yesterday that was going through a tough time, and I said, "Man, to be honest, it's a good distraction and just the easiest place to find good. When I go wake him up from a nap, I can stop reading the news and I see him just smile, and I'm like, it kind of makes everything
all right
else
with the world again. Yeah.
So he's our gift of joy. In the midst of crazy times, very easy to find good and times where sometimes it's hard to.
Yeah, yeah. And I don't know about you, but I'm like, I have waited out this quarantine for the most part alone. Jack Bauer's been a great help. But you're right. You have to go search for your joy in tough times. I have learned there's little tricks to my trade. There's little tricks that I trick my brain of to remind myself that the world isn't going to hell in a handbasket. It looks like it, but it's not. And there still is good out there. And it's like I feel sad for the dads out there that wish they could present to their children a perfect world.
Yeah.
And they can't.
Yeah.
Because they're hearing it, they're missing school, they're not in school, they're wondering, why is this? And then they have to sit down and explain to them what virus looks like and pandemic and how people are handling it. And this is what we've got to do. We have a very, very mutual friend, Bone, who I feel like is a son to me. And he was telling me some of the first time as a father and to a son having to explain what racism looks like.
Yeah.
And having to explain some things that you always so hoped you would never have to explain to your child.
Me being the eternal optimist, and
we always were.
Yeah. My hope and dream, and I quickly come back to reality. This won't be the case, but I always just kind of hope that maybe I don't have to explain that to Caleb, in 5-10 years from now. Then, we go through this, we experience the pain of this and almost like the birthing pains and the joy on the other side.
Yeah.
And so I hope and pray that through the chaos right now, there's positive things and there's joy on the other side of it. Yeah. And I know there'll be other things where I have to sit down and explain. I have no idea how I'm going to do that. I'm going to send him over to stay the weekend with you and say,
no, your parents don't want that.
Aunt Shauna's going to teach you about the ways of the world. She'll tell you everything.
That's exactly right. How to navigate honky tonk after honky tonk.
Absolutely.
That's the truth. Your Uncle David was a good dad. He and I fell short in so many ways, but he was such a dad. He just and I used to say I had 3 kids to raise. Your Uncle David and Zach and Shara. And because he was just another one I would go, okay, we have somebody in this house has got to be disciplined about something. And our house was not, as you well know, it was the creative house. It was when I would come to your house when you were a kid, it was all about crafts. I would bring a bucket of crafts. We made crafts. We did fun. I was the fun parent. And so then I married a fun parent, and then reality hit and it's going, okay, not both of us can be the fun parent. Somebody's got this. Yeah. So it's
down the law.
Breadwinner. Yeah. It was chaotic, I'm sure, for my kids. But the sweetest thing is Zach and I's relationship has stayed steady. Now we fight like cats and dogs when it comes to politics and everything else, but we get over it. And I can't imagine I could never adopt a baby right now. Well, one, because I will be dead before it graduates. But you're right. If you look around at the world and how frightening it is to be in this world right now, it would almost terrify you about being a parent.
Yeah.
But what I love about the Word of God, which has been strong for me my whole life, is when I got the concept that God was the Abba Daddy. When I learned what Abba Daddy meant, it made me understand my earthly father better. It made me have grace for other people better, and then it also made me feel like I'm really not fatherless.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm just not. Yeah, I'm just not. So, and that's a comfort.
Absolutely. Yeah. My favorite memory of coming to visit y'all, you guys were the fun.
Yeah, we were the crazy
aunts and uncles.
Yes.
We go to one side of the family and go rake hay and work out in the garden all day and shuck corn, and then we'd go over with y'all and do fun games. And I remember y'all lived in Smyrna, Tennessee, in the house that backed up to a bunch of woods.
Oh yeah.
y'all, I have no idea to this day how much time you spent doing a treasure hunt with
Yes.
real treasure maps.
Yes,
And
we
it
did. We
seemed like
spent
it took
days getting it ready for
hours.
y'all.
You know,
Yeah.
I could not tell you what was in the treasure box that we found. No memory, but I'll forever just remember the hunt and what y'all put into that. And I always tell Allison, like, I'm so excited when Caleb gets a little bit older, like, we're going out to the farm, we're going to do
Good.
this treasure, we got to do it again. And thinking of that in context of what you said, of knowing that there's always a spot with our Abba Father that we can go back to, that's a safe place, that's a place of joy, that's a fun place, and
Aw.
trying to instill that. And, so those are lessons that I got from you and Uncle David and
The
my
wild,
folks.
the wild side.
Yeah. Yeah. Whenever my folks were getting too strict, then I'd come down there and we'd have fun. But knowing just in that environment and in that godly environment that, the whole family kind of put down for us, that there's, again, safety and fun and joy and
Yeah.
peace and all those good things for us.
And you have to create that sometimes. God,
Absolutely.
joy, happiness is something you have to go and create and work on. Joy is something that it comes from the Lord. That's one of the gifts of the fruits of the Spirit is joy and peace. And so people without relationship with God, it's almost impossible to create that atmosphere. But because
Absolutely.
we had a foundation that we loved Jesus, our faith didn't play out like others more righteous. We had to we had to grow through our brokenness.
Yeah.
We did, and we raised fun kids. And I think Zach's not a parent yet, I don't think, but I think Cheryl's probably a fun mom. Because of drawing from the fun times. Now, thank God, somebody came along with some discipline in our life. Thanks to your dad.
We all need some disciplinarians in our life.
Your dad raised all of us. We know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just an interesting time. Father's Day is always kind of difficult sometimes for me, but I have great peace, that my dad's in heaven, and then Papa.
Yep. I always have Papa.
Papa's always there. He doesn't do Facebook, so we can say anything we want. But yeah, Papa is so funny. I have funny. I remember your Uncle David took Papa golfing for I think it was for Father's Day. And I said, what's Father's Day? You should invite him golfing. And for y'all that don't know, Papa was my mother's second husband. He was my stepdad for 40 years, 35 years, I think. Anyway, he took him golfing. And he said he hit the ball, and he showed him how to hit the ball. And so he says, then you got to hit it again all the way to the hole. So David hit his ball, and he was walking to his ball. And then a few minutes, here comes Papa right behind David. And he goes, no, Sammy, your ball's over there. You're supposed to go over there and hit it again. He goes, oh, no, I got it. Here it is.
Papa lives by his own rules.
He went and picked it up and brought it. It was so funny. And I remember your Uncle David going, he'll never learn how to play the golf. He ain't never gonna learn how to play golf. But yeah, great memories. You gotta find. I have friends that had difficult dads too, and it's a hard time. And sometimes there's some moms out there that can really encourage and enable those dads to be better, the best that they can be. To be an encouragement instead of beating them down, going, why aren't you like that? Maybe come alongside and find some ways to encourage one another. That's for sure. I know Allison has done a great job with you.
It took a strong person to do that. She has a good phrase. She calls people up instead of calling them out. So
that's what she says.
So tonight she was calling me up to make sure that I had the dishes done and calling me up to that, not calling me out.
Oh, I'm just calling you up. She is such a great lady. So where have you been flying? Will you go out and fly soon? Are you working?
Again, kind of the silver lining and eternal optimist. The company that I fly for, they've offered kind of a temporary voluntary leave, which is much better than involuntary.
Yeah.
So I've been able to take that, and I've been off since April, and I'll go back in August. So it's allowed me great time with Caleb, and
but here's
I'm here for all the
I'm worried about. Me, a person who does travel a lot. I don't want to have to go back on a plane with some of you guys that are just getting back in the saddle.
That'll be fun. they sent out an email today that we all have to go through special training
Oh,
to get
okay,
back
good.
and get
Oh, that
refreshed.
makes me feel better.
So I emailed them back and I said, can I go actually do a couple flights to practice first and then practice to get to the training? I said, no,
You're gonna have a
training
baby
first.
strapped on your back and going, look, let me change this diaper real quick, and then I'll run
Tennis
this.
diaper. I remember how to do this.
Oh,
You can hear me
man.
get on and making announcements. Hey, anybody remember how to start this thing? I think once somebody gets it fired up, we'll be good to go.
That's awful. Well, I love you, my nephew. So
I love you too.
thank you for sharing this time with my fans and my friends.
Absolutely.
Happy
Love
Father's
everybody.
Day.
Thanks so much. Hey,
All
if
right.
you're feeling down on Father's Day, you can come celebrate with me and buy me presents.
Okay. Oh, yeah, I always got your Christmas list when you were a kid. Yeah. I love you, nephew.
Love you too.
Oh, my stars. I love that kid. What a fun night. That just turned out to be such a sweet night. I want to share a verse with you real quick before we go. I know it's common. It turned out to be a little serious. And my hair flattened through the whole thing. 2 Corinthians, the 12th chapter. I love this because in the Message Bible, it talks about the strength from weakness. And sometimes we looked at in our past and in our childhood when we didn't have good fathers in our lives, or we lament, well, I wish my dad would have taken me fishing, or my father wasn't tender, or my father wasn't there. And so you might view that as a weakness. But here's what Jesus says about limitation. My grace is enough. It's all you need. My strength comes into its own in your weakness. Once I heard that, I was glad to let it happen. I quit focusing on the handicap of my life and began appreciating the gift. It was a case of Christ's strength moving in on my weakness. Now I take limitations in stride, and with good cheer, these limitations that cut me down to size, abuse, accidents, oppositions, bad breaks, well, I just let Christ take over. And so the weaker I get, the stronger I become. Isn't that good stuff? Good to see you guys on this Tuesday. Don't forget, Gary and I will be back. No telling. And we do have a really special guest about Wow VBS. I'm not going to tell you what it is till Thursday. Wow VBS. So I'll see you Thursday with Gary. Talk to you later.